Hello, welcome to the Business Essentials training provided by IIGL, part of the Avid Group. What's covered under Business Essentials? Firstly, just to remind you, Business Essentials is an exclusive product provided only by IIGL. 5 covers that make up the Business Essentials product: directors and officers, legal expenses, business emergency, legal document library, and health and safety and HR online program. In terms of the premium, when you look at the 5 covers that I mentioned, you're looking at a premium there of £275 plus IPT, and as you'll see, commission to yourselves is 30%. The legal document library and the health and safety risk management are compulsory covers, and they're embedded into the product. And as you can see, you can scale it from 3, 4, or 5 heads of cover. It's suitable for SME businesses with a turnover below 5 million. It's quote and bind via the Igloo portal, and there's an opt-in selection to avoid dual insurance. So for argument's sake, if your client already has legal expenses or D&O for argument's sake, they've not got to take them under this particular product. So if you look at the core covers, 5 heads of cover, £275 plus IPT. There's an additional £75, as you can see, for the D&O extension, which I'll touch on a little bit later with regards to EPL and corporate entity. If we're looking at a pricing comparison, you're looking probably in excess of about £1,300 if you were to purchase these covers separately, whether that's with separate insurers, potentially different renewal dates, etc., etc. But actually, as a core comparison, you're comparing £275 as a core premium for the 5 heads of cover compared to £1,300, if not more. So just looking at the covers then. So the first head of cover provided under the Business Essentials product is for directors and officers. So, what is directors and officers cover? Sometimes referred to as management liability. What is it and why do people need it? Well, D&O, sometimes referred to, as I say, as management liability insurance, is an insurance policy that's brought by the directors or management of the business to protect them and the decisions and actions that they make. It's one of the only policies that protects the individuals as well as the company. So who needs D&O cover? Well, simply put, every limited or LLP business should really hold D&O cover regardless of size. The decisions of directors and officers, managers, can have a direct impact not only on the business, but suppliers, regulators, customers, all of whom can bring a claim against the directors if they feel they're liable. So some of the misconceptions then around D&O, why people don't particularly purchase it, is I run a limited company, therefore my liability is limited. Well, slightly incorrect, if not fully incorrect. In a private limited company, its owners, i.e. the shareholders' liability is limited. The maximum they can lose is what they've invested. If a director is sued and there is no limit to the amount they could be sued for, even if they are a shareholder. So the liabilities of a director and a shareholder are separate and distinct, even if the same person occupies both positions. So what are some of the occasions when directors and officer covers needed? Well, if someone feels a director has discriminated against them, or the company goes into liquidation owing creditors or even employees money, an injury, fatality, site on premises, to name but a few. If we look at some claims examples, look at the costs involved. So some here we've got negligence, defamation, sexual discrimination, health and safety. Certainly the health and safety, a significant amount of money, £890,000. Did you know that following a Supreme Court decision in 2017, the cost of actually taking someone to tribunal was removed? So it was anywhere between £390 to £2,000. When it was removed, there was an increase in tribunals of over 90%. So when you take that with the food for thought, that there's an estimated between 80 and 100,000 employment tribunals every year, with employers winning on average only 10% of them. Quite a worrying number there. When you look at the costs involved, and don't forget, these aren't because someone's guilty, these are someone defending themselves. So even if they're found innocent of the accusation, they still have to fork out for the the costs of defending themselves. So significant numbers involved. And again, if you cast your mind back to the premium, £275, not only for D&O, but for the rest of the covers as well. Very, very, very worth the money. So just to summarise in terms of what the benefits of the D&O policy provided under the Business Essentials, well, there's a nil policy access to the core covers. You have an optional extension for employment practice liability and corporate entity. Both have an inner limit of £100,000. And as I said before, there's just a nominal cost of £75 to include both of those. A-rated UK-based insurer, fixed rating for turnovers up to 5 million, automatic covers for subsidiaries, includes claims versus directors and officers for 10 years after retirement, which is really, really important. You don't just retire or disappear, you can still be found accountable. It includes claims bought in any jurisdiction other than the USA, and it includes claims versus directors and officers caused by the operation or admin of any pension, employee benefit scheme, or trust fund. The second head of cover, legal expenses. What is it? Why do people need it? Well, it's an insurance purchased by the insured to cover the legal costs that they might incur while pursuing disputes about such things as personal injury, contracts for goods or services, property, or employment. So who needs it? Well, every business. Legal expenses, it's a versatile, relatively expensive policy, and certainly in this instance, it's very inexpensive, which not only provides cover for the legal costs incurred, it typically has a whole host of other benefits. For example, things like helplines for tax and employee disputes, employees, extra protection, data assistance. Let's have a look at some claims examples. Redundancy, tax investigation, debt recovery, property. Again, you're looking at significant numbers here, you know, from £5,000 up to 13, nearly £14,000 on a boundary dispute. So did you know that depending on what you need them for, the hourly cost of a solicitor can range from £110 to £300 per hour, if not more, phone calls, emails, etc. in addition. So nearly every business has outstanding creditors beyond their agreed payment terms. It's normal process for businesses, debt recovery, to successfully recover the debt. This could end up being a bad debt, and businesses are often left out of pocket for goods or services they've provided. So again, a significantly and relatively inexpensive cost of building in legal expenses cover for £250,000 limit for such things here. So let's just wrap up the benefits. So again, A-rated, UK-based insurer, fixed rating, and I can't emphasize that enough. What we are looking at here is when we talk around a premium of £275, it doesn't flex whether they have a 5 million turnover, 4 million, 2 million. So you know the premium when you're talking to your clients. Employment disputes and awards, restrictive covenants, tax protection, contract debt recovery, crisis communication, employees protection, and remember, access to 24-hour 365 legal and counselling helplines, and access to tax guidance telephone services. An absolutely phenomenal head of cover. So business emergency. So again, what is it and why do people need it? Well, we often talk around business emergency in personal lines insurance. So if you have a car, you know, you're offered breakdown cover or, you know, roadside assistance. If you have a household insurance, you know, again, it's breakdown of heating systems, etc., etc. So it's very much leans itself to personal lines emergency cover. We often don't really talk about it in a commercial sense, but when you're talking around a commercial product, it's an insurance that's purchased for the unforeseen circumstances that stop a business from trading. So very important to remember, it's the stopping the business from trading, things that happen as an emergency, that this provides cover for. So most businesses actually trade from a fixed location. They would really benefit from the peace of mind that having this cover in place. So 24-hour call centre with hundreds of qualified tradesmen up and down the country, service levels normally within 2 hours. So, you know, what kind of things would be covered? Well, you know, breakdown of main heating system, vermin infestation, premises falling trees, blocking your access, restricted due to fly tipping, failure of locks of keys. So when you talk around these emergencies, what we're talking here is things that deny access. So, you know, people that want to come into your premises to purchase goods, or for argument's sake, it's a leisure centre or a motor trade. People that want to come in to buy or to do, when you're restricting cover, obviously you're restricting your footfall, so immediately you start to have an impact on you as a bottom line in terms of income for a business. So it's vital that you have particular cover to get these things up and running again. So some claims example then. So whilst not great in terms of cost compared to some of the other covers, it's still, you know, £500 that you wouldn't have to pay if you had the cover. So remember, this particular cover is £500 towards each and every incident, unlimited in the incidents, unlimited locations, and nil excess. So if you're a motor trader, for example, and you have 5 locations, the same premium applies to all locations, not per location. So just did you know, for 2018-19, I know we're going back a few years here, local authorities dealt with over 1 million fly tipping incidents, an increase of 8% from the 998 reported in 17 to 18. This has significantly increased as we've gone through the last few years. And it really is consistent. People fly tipping highways, pavements, road, and that counts for nearly half of all the incidents. And that was going back to 18-19, and that's significantly up now. So people do dump stuff, and there's issues getting into your premises, and when people dump stuff, it's not the stuff that's dumped, it's the infestations that you get as well as the unforeseen loss of power, vermin infestation, etc. So a really, really great head of cover on a commercial basis, which generally lends itself more to personal lines. So just to summarise that, again, A-rated, UK-based insurer, £500, any one claim, unlimited in the period, unlimited locations, as I mentioned. So we pay £500 towards repair, no matter how many times you call, even if the repair is over £500. 24-hour, 7-day-a-week emergency helpline. I've provided some examples, but just to reiterate, loss of power, vermin infestation, loss of keys, plumbing, breakdown of main heating system. So those are the core insurance covers, and the ones that are embedded in a policy, which are phenomenal heads of cover and provided, are health and safety, HR, legal document library programs. So what are they and how can they benefit your clients? Well, HR system in the program is a system that's completely online. It's a system that's developed in partnership with IGL, and it provides clients of all sizes and backgrounds the tools they need to help them manage, review, and improve their health and safety and HR systems. So who needs them? Well, everyone. With the ever-evolving legislation and regulation on not only construction, but the leisure industry, care, manufacturing, to name a few, most clients struggle to keep up with their requirements, and employing external consultants really can run into thousands of pounds. I think the average now tends to be about £1,300 to £1,500 to get an external consultant, and that's probably an annual fee as well. So again, a couple of misconceptions. This must just be for new startups. Well, we would argue that we're wrong. The system has been designed and is constantly updated. I can't underestimate that and can't emphasize that enough. It's constantly updated to be there to help with new businesses get on their feet, health and safety, HR, as well as established businesses which want to review and update their current health and safety and documentation and procedures and arrangements. So another misconception, my client employs an external health and safety firm. You know, why do I need it? Well, absolutely perfect, but it's vital and invaluable tool for them to use. So by employing a third party, they could be in ownership of all your data. So the third party actually owns all your data and is kind of looking after it. But by marrying both the systems, i.e. the information you provide to them and having ownership of your own details, the cross-fertilization of the services it provides means you retain the control over your bespoke policies, but you utilize the expertise of them at the same time. So just because you may be paying for one doesn't mean to say that this becomes defunct. Actually, you can marry the two up, and I think that's really, really valuable, actually. And look at some claims examples here. You know, HR cost saved £2,000, RC expert 200 odd quid an hour that's saved. You know, health and safety, driving at risk assessments. There's again some chunky numbers. You know, 2,000. It's a lot of money when it adds up to the other heads of cover as well. So some of the worrying things around HSE is that they do issue over 8,000 fines a year for violations ranging from inadequate health and safety, risk assessments, etc. The fines can be made against the company and or the directors, And the two most worrying numbers are that they do actually have a 92% prosecution success rate, with the average fine being over £140,000. I think that now is around about £200,000 on the last time I looked. So again, 92% hit rate when they come looking for you, and potentially anything between £140,000 and £200,000 fine. So the benefit of the health and safety online system that is provided within Business Essentials is that it keeps your clients ahead of the curve. Any updates in legislation in terms of health and safety, in terms of procedural things that they have to do, in terms of legislative changes, your client gets an update /e-shot that tells them of those changes immediately prior to them changing, so they're not behind the curve in terms of having annual reviews and being found guilty of things that they should or shouldn't do. So I can't underestimate that enough. It really, really is important that your clients stay ahead of the curve, and that's the whole idea of the health and safety online system, which is 24/7. So just to kind of round up the benefits of that: regular updates in line with changes in regulation and legislation, trade and industry specific areas, for example, construction, manufacturing, care, leisure, retail, food, to name but a few. Free cloud storage to ensure safe storage of all the documents and access remotely, so your clients can turn up on site or at other sites and they can literally pull down their documentation from the cloud onto their phones, iPads, tablets, etc. Thousands upon thousands of downloadable templates, completely customizable, and free Ask the Expert advice on any HR matter. So what are some of the helplines? Well, legal helpline, tax helpline, HR and employment, redundancy, counsel and health and safety, crisis communication, but to name a few. So remember, make selling Business Essentials part of your business DNA. If you believe in its value, ease of transaction, width of protection, and at a price that makes it an absolute no-brainer, so will your clients. It aids retention considerably when attaching it to a core product. So the Business Essentials can be attached to any specific core product you have. It hasn't got to be an IIGL product. It could be a product with any other insurer, be it a commercial combined, etc. It literally bolts onto another policy. Fantastic for retention because you've got 4 or 5 heads of cover there. So it makes it a lot harder for your clients to replace those and replicate those elsewhere. As I say, probably looking at about £1,300 to replicate those separately. It provides covers and services that protect a business, not just insure it. So really, really, again, I can't emphasize that enough. It's around protecting your client's business, not just insuring it. And please remember that the Business Essentials marketing material and everything we've discussed today is under the Movo Buddy IIGL profile. Thank you for your time.